And hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of The Kuehl Show. I am your host today, the insider, the insiders, Tyler Kuehl, saying thank you very much for tuning into this special TKS here. I know it's obviously not all the glitz and glamour, and because of this episode, sponsored by our good friends at StreamYard, powering today's episode, because with a special episode, we need to have a special circumstances, and we do here today. Today is our Autism Awareness Special here on TKS in support of Pucks for Autism. So now is a good time and better than ever to introduce my guests today because we wanted to see their faces, their beautiful faces. We're going to bring them in. First, let me introduce to you all the way right down the middle, actually over to your top left. He's right over there. The founder of Pucks for Autism, Shawn Pfeiffer. Shawn, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
And of course, the other guy that you saw on the screen there, the lovely defenseman, former defenseman of Davenport Division I hockey. He is none other than number 55, Walker Oren. Walker, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show, Tyler. Appreciate it.
So, guys, this is a big deal, I guess, for all of us, or for you guys in particular. This is my first, I guess, involvement with Pucks for Autism, and because it's coming up this weekend down outside the Chicago area. Pucks for Autism, which started back in 2016, partners with the Special Education District of Lake County, better known as the Seattle Foundation, has raised over $100,000 since its inception. And Shawn, you were the one that started all of it. How has autism affected your life, and how is that carried into Pucks for Autism?
Well, it's affected my life directly because my son, Henry, has autism. And it's definitely been a focus to try to raise awareness. Henry was pretty much nonverbal until he was age 4. But one of the things that always struck me with Henry is we would go to the store and he would see somebody cry and he would get upset. And it's one of the things that always kind of stuck with me. He's taught me a lot about compassion for other people. So that's been a big part of our mission as well.
And then, of course, that leads eventually to the Pucks for Autism tournament. And you actually were part of a tournament before it ended up becoming Pucks for Autism. What made you actually want to turn it into Pucks for Autism and become the founder of it yourself?
Yeah, so I did participate in a tournament called Taking the Edge Off Autism. It was something that my wife actually had noticed probably about 6 months after Henry was diagnosed with autism. The premise was really about bringing autism dads together to support a good cause, to kind of take their minds off the stresses that kind of come with autism at times. And it was a smaller tournament that involved 8 teams. It was something that I particularly enjoyed because it hit close to home. But it was something that I really wanted to grow and expand on. So that was something that I talked to the person that ran it, and they were actually looking to kind of step aside. So that's essentially how Pucks for Autism was born.
And thank you, Sarah Kohler. I believe I'm saying that right. Getting a shout out in here. Been playing in this tourney. Love it with 2 exclamation points, which means she loves it a lot. And of course, our other guest here, Walker Oren, down below there. Walker, I know your story a little bit, and I'll be honest, I'm a little embarrassed when you told me because I've known about you at least because you've been at Davenport since 2015, and so I've known you for better part of 4 years now, but I didn't quite know your story exactly until you told me this past spring. Tell people how autism has affected your life and how has that helped you actually with regards to actually developing playing hockey.
It's impacted me, I think, in a lot of ways. I think the biggest thing is that, I don't know how much necessarily it's helped me, but I know that, hockey has certainly helped me in a lot of ways to kind of overcome my differences and the challenges that I've had in my life. And I've had a lot of really great people to help me along the way that I talk about, in my article. People like Shawn, kids like Henry, Shawn's wife, Eva, people from the Seattle Foundation. That's kind of what I draw inspiration on. That's what kind of motivates me to try to always do my best, whether it's in the classroom or it's on the ice or whether it's, applying for jobs, whatever the case may be. So I think a lot of it has to do with, the motivations that I get from the people that I've met at this event, because I think without them, it wouldn't help me be where I'm at. And to see how much it's grown, even in the last several years, has been incredible. Shawn's done a really good job in growing it and making sure it expands and it keeps getting better and better each year.
And one of those people you talked about supporting their walker is actually your dad. And I knew your dad when I was a kid because I attended a couple of his goaltending camps when I was about this tall, give or take, only a few feet. So I knew of Walker's dad, but it was the story is so I broadcasted the last 3 seasons. So I've seen Walker plenty of times around the campus at Davenport, even having him on this past season as color commentator for a few games with us. And then so we actually did a get to know your athlete during the COVID. So there's content, and Walker talks, because I knew of Walker's involvement with Pucks for Autism because I just thought, hey, it's a great cause, way to be a part of it, great stuff. And then he mentions how he has PDD, and I'm just like, oh, because I never knew Walker. That was one thing. I was like kind of embarrassed. I'm like, you can never tell by your demeanor and your positive energy that that you have autism, but yet you're able to still go out through it and still be able to play the game you love.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of I kind of get that a lot from most people that don't know me. They tend to, not know about the disabilities and and what I've had. A lot of me overcoming a lot of the challenges that I've had. I owe a lot of that to my parents, because they really, really sacrificed and took a lot of time to make sure that I was comfortable and that I had everything that I need. So I know that without the therapy that they've given me, without the patience and the guidance from people like my brother and the friends that I've had, I wouldn't be half the person I am. Because at the end of the day, we're as good as the people that we surround ourselves with, and I'm thankful that I just have people like my mom and my dad and Shawn and my brother and all the friends and family that I've had in my corner that have always created an environment where they've allowed me to be myself. So without them, I don't think I would be where I'm at.
And that's always great. Of course, I've actually seen your brother around the rink too. Of course, you played with him at Kentwood. Shawn, I've never asked, what is your background with hockey? Was it kind of something you grew up with, something you picked up later on? What's your involvement with the game?
Yeah, I mean, I played youth hockey. Obviously, didn't reach the level of like Walker did. I pretty much played through high school, and that was pretty much it. And the thing that I appreciate about the tournament and the hockey community in general is just how closely knit everyone is. There's a lot of people that have been so supportive through the hockey community, and will be forever grateful for that.
And that's always great. And so then I guess we go back a couple years, and Walker, you get involved with Pucks for Autism, and you told me how Shawn reached out. Tell us how that all kind of started, how this relationship how that began.
Yeah, so go ahead.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
My bad.
No, I mean, essentially each year I try to find different ways to make the tournament different or make it better. And I had stumbled upon Walker's article and looked at the different things that his parents, did to kind of help him spell through the game of hockey. And I was really inspired by his story. And, as we were talking earlier, a lot of people don't necessarily know that Walker's on the autism spectrum. And for him to come out to his high school class and him to be so open about it, I admire Walker for that, because it can't be easy to come out and talk about something that, is perceived as a difference from everybody else. But he's definitely made a huge impact, not only in our event, but also, the people around him.
And Walker, I mean, when you first came on board, when Shawn reached out to you, I mean, was it just like, oh yeah, let's be a part of it? Or, you kind of have to think about it. What was your decision? What did that take to, be a part of Pucks for Autism?
Well, I mean, it was a pretty easy decision right away. It was, there wasn't a doubt in my mind. After I got done reading Shawn's message that he sent to me a couple of years ago, I knew right away that this was an event that I wanted to be a part of. I had no idea that something like that even existed. The thought of it hadn't even occurred to me. I knew right away once Shawn reached out and he told his story, and I was able to, meet a lot of great people from the tournament. that summer leading up to it and find out more about it. I can't really thank Shawn and Seedall enough for everything that they've done for, not really even necessarily me, but just everyone that's involved with this event. I mean, I remember the first year that I took part in the tournament. I played in part of a C2 division game, and I got a chance to meet a lot of guys who either had family members that had autism or had friends that had autism, and that was really touching because for them to be out there and taking part in an event and raising money to help those that need it, it was inspiring. So I really take a lot of inspiration and a lot of perspective from this event every time I go to it. I always seem to learn something new every time I go, so I enjoy that about it.
And I mean, Shawn, this tournament it's quite a few faces. I know there was of course, you did the video with Walker Oren, the special on him on Pucks for Autism's YouTube channel, which, by the way, is a magnificent piece. They got the perspective of each of Walker, or most of Walker's teammates that he's played with, and all from this year's team, and that was great to see. So, first of all, kudos to you guys. That was a great piece you guys did. But what has it been like having Walker around? Having, I mean, a guy like him, like who's played with it, and having him involved with the tournament, how has that helped the Pucks for Autism cause?
I mean, it's been incredible because, for Henry, my son, for example, he can't articulate what it's like to live with autism, and Walker can. And as I mentioned earlier, for Walker to, he could kind of sit in the background and not talk about it. But I definitely respect the fact that he's able to come forward, talk about it, and educate others. There's so many people involved in our tournament that read the same article that I did, and they're just completely blown away. And it's pretty common. One of the things that we do as an honorary puck drop, there's a lot of people that talk about how they want to meet Walker. So he's been a huge impact, not only in our event, but also just educating others about autism.
And obviously, this is not just a one-man show. It's not just Walker. Who are some of the other names that have been a part of Pucks for Autism that I guess are noteworthy and worth mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like the people that are noteworthy are the people that support us year after year. One of the teams that we have called Carly's Crew. Sorry, I can't talk. They play in honor of Carly, and they have specialized jerseys that are designated to Carly. One of the things that Carly loves is tie-dye, so they have tie-dye jerseys that are made specifically for them. But as the tournament's grown, we've had a lot of instances like that. One of the teams playing this weekend, Light the Lamp with Luke, they're actually playing in honor of one of the father's son that is on the autism spectrum. So it's been really great from that perspective. For me, those are the people that I would say are notable. It's not necessarily a celebrity, but those are the people that I feel like has meant the most to me to come across, because when we first got the diagnosis, I didn't know anyone that had a child with autism, and you kind of feel siloed in that respect. So over the years, I've met so many great people that I could talk to about it.
And that's always good. Obviously, have just a support group outside of your family as well. And Walker, yourself, you obviously had a support group because you had your team. You had your boys in the locker room. You had your brothers at Davenport, not just at Davenport, but at Kentwood as well. And you pretty much, this year, you're just bringing an alumni team with you of Davenport guys. I mean, what's it like having those guys here, going from just playing, by yourself at this tournament to now having the support of teammates, both past and present, being on your team at this Pucks for Autism tournament?
Well, it's huge because I know that if the roles were reversed and, one of them was doing an event like this, I know that I'd do the exact same thing for them, which it makes it pretty easy to have them on board because, I know that if I'm ever in a tough situation or, if they ever need me, then they'd be there for me and I'd be there for them. It's awesome when you get to have teammates from kind of each different, scope of your journey along the way, be able to come back and join you, and you kind of get to, see how teammates from past and present kind of mesh, and you kind of get to see new relationships be developed and kind of blossom that way. So it's really cool because I think that it's just a good way for, everybody, especially during difficult times like these that our world is facing, to kind of just have a weekend to come together and raise money and play the sport that they love for a really, really good event. And, they get to meet some really cool people that look up to them along the way. And, like I've been saying this whole time, Shawn's done a great job and altering the schedule and really communicating well to, myself and all the other team captains from all the teams across every division on what's going on and what the protocols are. I know that's certainly no easy task to do, in a normal sense, let alone given a global pandemic. So Shawn and everyone from CEDAW have been great. And I know that they work their tails off every year to make sure that everyone's comfortable and they have what they need.
And that's a really good point, Walker, and Shawn in particular. Out of everything that's gone on this year with cancellations of big events and, having to stay at home during this COVID, this tournament still goes on. Why was it so important that we have a Pucks for Autism tournament here in the summer of 2020?
I got to say the passion. I mean, there's so many people that are passionate about, what we do, what we represent. But also, from a funding perspective, you talk about events that are canceled. Charity organizations like the CEDAW Foundation rely heavily on that. And with all the shutdowns, they can't host events when you can't really do anything for the past 4 months. So obviously we had to evaluate things and make sure that, we could host an event in a safe manner for obviously the players, the officials, the volunteers and the spectators. And we feel really good about the precautions that are being taken by each facility. So to be able to do that and also, be able to support a cause that's really in time of need, given everything that's going on, is really important to us.
And I mean, it's just great to see that. I mean, I guess this is like, hope of like, hey, we're going back to some normalcy, having a tournament like this, because it's not the only tournament this upcoming weekend, Shawn. I know there's multiple as well, and this is a good time, of course, for me to mention in the comment in this video, the description of this video, there are the donation links, not just for Pucks for Autism, but Walker's team as well. And that gets me to the names of the teams. And obviously, we talked about some of the meanings ones, the Light the Lamp with Luke and Carly's crew and others, but there's obviously some fun ones as well. There's the Buffet Boys, the Windy City Woodpuckers, the Don Cherry Pickers. What have been some of the, I guess we'll start with you, Shawn. What have been the most, funny names, entertaining names that you've seen at this tournament?
Yeah, some of the names I probably can't share here, given the nature of some of the names, but it's a guarantee each year we're going to have some unique team names throughout the tournament. That's for sure.
Walker, you guys have gone by the moniker Show Me, which Show MI, obviously from Michigan here. Is there any change in your name, or is that just going to probably stick with you guys for a while?
Nope. It's changed ever so slightly this year. We just went back to Team Michigan. So I think from here on out, moving forward, that's probably what it's going to be. We may not all be from the state of Michigan, but I mean, we all know each other and have a connection because of the state of Michigan. And I mean, part of the thing that we've done this year is, our team specifically got new jerseys for this year. And, we have a few Canadians that are going to be on our team. So in order to pay tribute to where everyone's from, we have both an American and a Canadian flag on the shoulders of our jersey. We just thought that would be a really cool way for us to kind of honor where everyone's from, even though everyone's not from Michigan. So I don't see our name changing anytime soon, but I mean, there are definitely some creative ones that, like Shawn alluded to, that I've seen and that I'm sure we'll continue to see as this tournament moves forward. So,
hey, it's always fun. You got to have some, some funny ones. I mean, there's always meaning for some, and some guys just like, let's just go with this name, good old classic beer league name. And we did see I believe both the Facebook and the Instagram posts of the cases of beer that are going to be delivered to this tournament. Now, I have a very important question, Shawn, and you got to be right on this one. Will there be more goals scored or more beer being consumed at this event?
No question. It's beer consumed.
Well, And, you know, with Walker's team, of course, seeing some of those guys, all Davenport boys, there'll probably be some beer needing to be consumed Norfolk for these guys to score goals. Wouldn't you say, Walker?
Yeah, I think everyone will definitely find their own timetable to kind of, you know, let loose and have fun, but never too much fun. But I mean, yeah, no, I think everyone will find one way or another, at least at some point, to have a little bit of fun, more than they probably are able to have, than they've been able to have in the last couple of months. That's for sure.
That is definitely for sure. And it's a bummer too, because when I heard about the tournament, like this would be such a great time to like, hey, let's go out there, fun. But like, unfortunately, no one's able to be there. Shawn, is there any way that fans and people that are interested in this tournament able to watch the games at all? Or are they just going to have to follow the social media feeds?
I mean, it's going to be primarily social media, but most of the rinks also do have Live Barn installed. Yep. So that's a potential option for people.
Yeah. And we have that here at Patterson. So I guess, you know, a couple of things here. I mean, what have been some of your favorite moments in the tournament? Obviously, Shawn, you've been there since the beginning. Walker, the past few seasons. So, Walker, we'll start with you. What have been some of your favorite moments or memories just being at the tournament? Individual ones, if you have any there.
I think the first one that comes to mind, without a doubt, is I got a chance to meet the wife of former NHL player Jim Cummins. I got a chance to meet his wife Maria. And their son Steven, who also has autism, and that was really, really touching to me because to me, someone like Maria, and I keep in touch with her from time to time. You know, she's a titan for me in terms of paving the way to try to make sure that her child gets all the care and support that he needs. So to see kind of her effort and how much something like this means to her, you know, she's an inspiration for me, definitely. You know, I hope one day that I can be half the parents that her and Jim have been to Steven. So for me, I think that was pretty touching to get a chance to meet her and Steven. And you know, that's not possible without someone like Shawn, who is willing to kind of let people from other spheres of the Chicago area and across the country really come in and kind of let their impact be known on this tournament. So, but that one for sure, that's what stands out.
That is definitely a pretty cool memory. And Shawn, you've been there since day one, so there's got to be a great story there for Shawn Pfeiffer when it comes to the Puck for Autism tournament.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's got to be the puck drop that we do each year. And this year, unfortunately, it's probably not going to be in the cards. But, you know, on the surface as an outsider, to do a puck drop during an adult league tournament, it probably doesn't seem like a lot of fanfare. But, you know, the past couple of years, you just see how much it means to the families involved. You see how much it means to the children in the teams, how supportive they are, not only the team representing the kid, but also the other teams as well. So that's been really awesome to see that, to have people approach you and tell you how much the tournament means to you, and they get emotional, and it truly just validates what we're doing out there. I know this past year, a really cool moment that we had is the opposite team had a grandson that was on the autism spectrum, and the other team, the other goalie also had a kid that was on the autism spectrum, and we did a puck drop, and obviously he was wearing a mask, and we took all the necessary precautions there. But the other team had a jersey prepared for that kid, their team jersey for the puck dropper. So it's really cool to not only see how much it means to the families, but also how supportive everyone involved in the event is for those puck droppers.
Yeah, and everyone, you know, like you said, some people think, oh, you know, at a men's league tournament, it's not a big deal. I mean, it is for no matter who it's at. I mean, you go to games, you see the puck drop, and you know, I mean, at some events, it's like, oh yeah, it's for, especially I mean, you go to Griffin's games, it's quite frequent, so it's not as memorable. But for these kids that, you know, for them, you know, this is one of their, you know, their shining moments. It just makes them just enlightened, and you could just see it in their smiles and their faces. And you guys have both seen that, so that has to be certainly, I guess, a rewarding factor being a part of this tournament.
Absolutely. I would say that's probably the thing I'm going to miss most that we can't do this year.
And Walker, I mean, like you said, you're in some of the pictures, and I know you were in one of the features from, I believe, one of the news releases a couple years ago with the tournament. I mean, it's a great time because you get to let loose, play some fun hockey, but you know you're doing it for something bigger and better than just the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, you know, this is something that people need now more than ever, really. Like I said, people have been kind of cooped up in their homes for the last 4 months, and this is it's really exploded. It has. And Shawn and everyone at Seedall have done a great job and letting the tournament, increase year after year after year. Last year the tournament raised over $70,000. This year, the goal is 100,000, but I'm sure due to a lot of things and unforeseen circumstances that have happened, in our world, I don't know if that goal will be met. But what's incredible to me is that even the last 2 weeks, the tournament's right on pace and right on par with almost reaching the total amount of money raised as it did the year before, and that speaks volumes to me. That, I mean, even given in a time like a global pandemic, people are still taking the time to donate and understand what this cause is all about and what this event does for so many people, because it helps so many people across the Chicago area. It's really incredible, what Seedall and what this event can do for a lot of different people.
And of course, I just looked at the number. It's right now it's $61,086. I almost said 86 cents. Almost 62,000 though. That's still like Walker said, despite the pandemic, money's a little tight for everyone. People are still willing to give. And Shawn, that's obviously huge because even when times are tough, people are still willing to give for this great cause.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I would say the biggest thing I attribute to that is, for Pucks for Autism, the story kind of started with my family and Henry, but it's evolved and grown because there's so many other stories. There's stories like Walker's, and as Walker had alluded to, even playing on the Don Cherry Pickers briefly a few years back, he came in contact with a lot of people that talked about having a child or someone close to them on the autism spectrum. So I attribute a lot of that to that, a lot of passionate people that feel strongly about what our mission is.
And that's always important because, I mean, just being able to give back to these kids. And of course, 100% of the proceeds do go to the Seedall Foundation, which is always great to know. And I mean, Shawn, obviously some people can't get involved this year because they're not able to go to the tournament, but outside of donation, how else can people get involved with the Pucks for Autism cause?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously always looking for teams as we grow, so that's definitely one way. We host different charity games at different venues. I would say the University of Notre Dame that we did this past year was probably the coolest venue that we've done thus far. We're also always looking for volunteers, officials, people to run the score clock. So any little way that anybody can help, we always appreciate that.
And Walker, yourself, I mean, you're always retweeting stuff on social media about it. And I mean, obviously doing the video itself during the season, it's always good to get the message out and just make sure, because like I said, you didn't even know about the tournament until Shawn reached out to you. Now it's continuing to grow. So that's got to be a great thing to see, Walker, at least from your perspective.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think what really kind of stands out to me is the fact that, in terms of the Davenport sphere of things, people that are either linked to Davenport hockey or are linked to me in some other capacity have gotten involved. I mean, this year I think there's at least 4 or 5 members of the Davenport women's team that are playing on one of the C2 division teams, and I'm glad that I was able to help out Shawn to make that happen, because I think it just shows, maybe not only how much it's impacted me, but how much it can maybe impact people throughout Davenport and throughout the West Michigan area too. So it's really cool to see how much it's grown, at least from where we live and who it's impacted that we know, and with the university that we're connected to. So hopefully it can continue to grow as this thing keeps moving along.
Obviously, the donation goal is always big, but I mean, like I said, may not be $100,000 this year, but still almost like over 60,000, maybe 70,000 by the end of the tournament would be awesome. Shawn, what is the goal for the tournament? Not just a financial donation goal, but overall, do you want to see this tournament expand to further further pastures to kind of expand out across the Midwest? What is your goal, at least, for Pucks for Autism?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we want to try to grow the tournament as much as we can to help, different areas as much as humanly possible. Walker had alluded to, the Western Michigan. One of the things that we did last year, we actually did a grant program due to the success of the tournament. So not only did we help the Seedall Foundation, but we also helped some of the special hockey programs, such as the Chicago Blackhawks special hockey, as well as the Western Michigan special hockey team. So obviously, the more money we raise, the more we can do to help, which is a big part of our goal. But I would say another part of our mission is to, help people become more understanding and help people realize how incredible kids on the spectrum are. I think sometimes that can be overlooked. And as a parent, I think that's something that, I fear at times. If Henry acts in a way that's not really deemed socially acceptable, is somebody going to judge him? And you're kind of always on edge in those situations. So just trying to get people, not necessarily to be autism experts, but just to be more understanding of situations that you might not be close to and typically would understand.
And just the last couple questions here, because like I said, it's such a great cause, and we do want it to grow because we still want to raise awareness for autism. And Walker, yourself here, I mean, you've been a part, you've been around the community for a while, Pucks for Autism as well. What, I guess, would your message be to those that are still, I guess, a little unfamiliar with autism and how they should, I guess, treat it as people that may not quite know much about autism?
I think the biggest thing is, like anybody, don't be afraid to reach out and help on whatever way that is. Each individual case is different, and each person that has autism or whatever other mental disability it may be, they're all different and they all deal with it differently. So what worked for me necessarily may not work for somebody else. I don't think that there's one, specific thing that, that someone can do, that I've done to make it better. I think each person's own case is different. But the thing to me that I think is most important is that, people, and kids that are autistic, they have thoughts and they have feelings too. I mean, they can grow up to achieve their dreams and, can become special and become really, really good at whatever it is they choose to be, whether that's, sports, whether it's in business, whether it's, in medicine, whatever the case may be. I would encourage everyone to, just take the time to get to know them because, I've gotten to meet a lot of really, really, beautiful souls and a lot of really, really great people that deal with autism on a much more severe basis than I do. And I know that the time that you take for someone like that means the world to them. I think that can be the highlight of their day sometimes. So I think it's really, really important that people take the time to understand what it is Shawn and Seedall are all about and what they're trying to convey their message as. So I think that's just I think those are the biggest things to me.
And I'm sure, Shawn, you can probably kind of, I guess, relay some of that message by Walker, especially yourself having a son. So obviously, Walker having autism, your son Henry having autism. What would you say to those, I guess, more or less coming from the father's side of things?
I would just say I would say the biggest thing is probably just show a little bit more sensitivity. I think through the tournament, I've seen a lot of generosity out of people, and I would say that would be true for the most part. But I've also seen, some difficult situations where Henry doesn't understand some of the social situations that maybe people would perceive that he should, and they don't necessarily react in the best way when he does that. So my biggest message would just be try to be more understanding, try to understand that, people might react in a way and you don't understand it, but just be sensitive to that situation, because every time it happens, like as a dad, I'm kind of on high alert when Henry reacts in a way that, people might not be used to seeing. And my focus is what's going on around me and how people are reacting to that. So I would say the sensitivity would be the biggest piece, because right now he doesn't necessarily understand when people react negatively to what he's doing, but at some point he will. And as a father, that's probably my biggest fear, is that people aren't going to understand and they're going to judge him. And if he's sensitive, it's gonna hurt his feelings, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I myself, I have experience with it, 'cause my cousin has autism as well, and my godfather's son also has it. And when I was a kid, I didn't quite understand it. And it took me a long time, and my parents having to explain to me what it was. So I kind of was able to get it. I don't want to say a jump start on the awareness of it or the knowledge of it, but it did help, just kind of hearing about it, and understanding, so I knew how to, I guess, like you said, Shawn, be more sensitive to the matter, because it is something that is different. And that's why I believe, this tournament is such a wonderful way to bring awareness for it, and obviously get a bunch of great people together. And let's hope this weekend goes off without a hitch. Obviously, there's all sorts of things with COVID and everything, but you guys are putting it together. You guys are going full tilt, which is awesome to see. Shawn, Walker, thank you guys so much for taking the time here for today, this very special episode of The Kuehl Show, which usually airs on Monday nights on 12 Ounce Sports, but we had to make an exception for these two lovely beauties. Shawn Pfeiffer, the founder of Pucks for Autism; Walker Oren, all-time leader in games played at Davenport University D1 team. I had to give you the shout out there, Walker. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a great time this weekend. If you guys want to follow them on social media, at PucksA on Twitter, Pucks for Autism on Instagram and Facebook as well. Donate. See the description in the video below. Check it out. Click either. Donate to both. I donated to both Walker's team and the Pucks for Autism cause as well. And if you want to donate to your favorite team name. Go for that. Hey, why not? Donate for any team you guys feel like. Guys, thank you guys once again. We will see you guys hopefully down the line. You guys have fun this weekend, all right?
All right, appreciate it.
All right, you guys. All right. We'll see you guys later, and thank you all for tuning in this very special episode of The Kuehl Show, our Pucks for Autism special. You guys are just awesome for tuning in. Please donate. Do it for a good cause. We'll see you guys all around the bend. See you guys on Monday here on The Kuehl Show.